So now, it's like
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for coming to Tsunami this afternoon and joining Lee for her kickoff, second kickoff here. We had one Friday night. It was a grand success and very exciting. Lee and I, those you don't know us very well, we've known each other since college, so that's 30-something years ago. Married 24 years. We have two great kids in college, and so Lee has been wonderful wife, wonderful mother, getting our kids to the point they are, and now she's ready for the next big challenge and chapter, and that's City Council for Roswell. So we're very excited for her. I think I'm perfectly qualified to attest to you that this is one dedicated, driven, strong, doesn't give in, and will give 150% to everything that she does. She's done that the entire time I've known her, and it's not going to be any different for the citizens of Roswell. So wishing her all the best. Our family's very excited for her, and I'm going to hand it over to her and let her share her what she wants to share with you. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. This is Wes, by the way, my husband, and thank you so much for that warm introduction. A couple of people I do want to recognize first is we've got Peter Vanstrom here. He's also running for City Council. Welcome. We've got Michael Dalchero. Where'd you go? There we are, right here. Also running, and Mike Palermo was here a little bit ago. He had another engagement, but he has taken off and has said hello. And we've also got Marcela Zapata here. Thank you so much. So grateful for all of you stopping by and making time in your Sunday afternoon. I know that's precious time for family. A couple of things I want to share with you is about me. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a Roswell resident of 19 years. Wes and I bought our house in East Cobb 5 years prior to us moving here, and the entire time I was sinning. I was coveting across the county line, saying I want to live in Roswell, I want to go to Roswell, and so we paid off some debts and we could afford it, and we bought a house in Roswell, and we've been here for 19 years since. So it's been a wonderful experience. The community, the beauty, the historic character of this beautiful city has just been a great thing for us, and a wonderful place for us to raise our kids. Early on in our marriage, when we were starting our family, we had an earnest conversation about job descriptions for me and Wes, and decided early on that Wes was on a quicker career path to pay the bills, so he would be the breadwinner, and I was well suited to stay at home, which for me meant never stay at home. So I was a never at home mom from the beginning, and invested my time volunteering around what the kids were interested in doing. I just feel like that's a big community piece to offer up if available. There are a lot of families that can't do that or are not interested in it, and anything that I did to benefit our kids would spill out into the community for other kids, and that's who our children are growing up with. And then, of course, the bonus round is getting to know the other families. Some of the organizations that I've been a part of over the last 15 years are the Daughters of the American Revolution. Our kids were involved in sports all through high school. They both graduated, as Wes said, but we felt like they needed to have a little bit more on their life resume besides just sports. So we encouraged them to check out different organizations, and we landed on the Children of the American Revolution. So yes, we started brainwashing our kids at an early age about patriotism, respect of our flag, our country, our freedom, our veterans, our active service people, and just downright being American. That's all walks. So it's been a real pleasure to be involved in that. Wes and I both have served as senior officers in the Children of the American Revolution, and the kids both served as officers in the local chapter as well. So that's been wonderful. I also have spent 15 years serving Fulton County Schools PTA and PTSA. I was the PTA president at Mountain Park Elementary for 2 years, and Roswell High School PTA president for 3. And both of those experiences, boy, they're eye-opening. You learn who your friends are quickly, and there are a lot here, a lot of friends. I had a great run with that, and have made a lot of lifelong friends through that. So it's also served me in leadership well to be in front of crowds and talk to people, listen to people, understand what the needs of our neighbors are, and it's been a joy for me. So those are some things that I feel like empower me to be a great leader for you in the state, in the city of Roswell, for city council. And these are some of the issues that I find most important. I'd really like to reinvest in our parks and recreation facilities. They're looking shop worn, tired. We need to replace, clean up. There's just a lot of overhaul that needs to be done with our parks and recs. I'd like to see that done very quickly. We used to be a force to be reckoned with and coveted, and I'd like to bring that feeling back. I'd also like to create more destinations. I'd like to make sure that we're attracting businesses that are going to support our citizens, our residents, so they have places to go, things to look forward to outside of their driveway and their neighborhood. We've got a gorgeous city here. Our neighborhoods are to die for. We need to make sure that our amenities around here in our commercial spaces reflect that of our neighbors and our residents, so that they can have a place, we can have a place to go and see each other. I'm also very interested in restoring trust and transparency in our government. I've told people for years, I feel like I've been peeking through a keyhole and about to find out what's going on, and then I get swamped with family life and I can't quite connect the dots. So I'd like to see more effort from the city council, which will be me when you elect me, making sure that our citizens know what's going on, and that we don't have a feeling of bait and switch, or that we've been held out on as far as what's going on in the decisions that are being made in city council. I'd also like to work on protecting our neighborhoods. That starts with our police. I feel like we have wonderful police officers here, and the structure is there. We need to make sure they're paid accordingly. They're working for us. They're looking out for us. We need to look out for them as well. I'd also like to take care of our neighborhoods by protecting gorgeous spaces without putting cut-throughs in there that don't serve the neighborhood itself. They serve possibly other counties or commuters that are coming through. Finally, I'm concerned about pay to play. I'm concerned about special interest groups backing candidates in our every 2-year cycle of our municipal elections. It's troubling to me to think that there are strings attached when someone's elected and has a huge kitty to pull off an election. So I want to expose that if it's there to be exposed, and make sure that we're running a straight up and up election cycle. Some of the things I'd like to talk to you about that I'm not real happy about with my opponent. My opponent, I'm going to get this straight off the books here so I get it right. Regarding the Parks and Recreation Department in 2017, one of the first things that my opponent said in the North Fulton newspaper, that he would bolster our award-winning parks and greenways. The same year our city did a Parks and Rec needs assessment, these were some of the items that were top tier. River plan, trails and connectivity, meet aquatic needs, meet gymnastics needs, cultural arts, historic resources, and a whole host of other operational recommendations were made. And these have still not been addressed. That was 2017. My opponent recently voted down the budget recommendation of $375,000 by $310,000. So we're spending more money to investigate what went wrong with Oxbow than we're spending on our recreation facilities and parks. That doesn't fly with me. We're a community of families. My opponent has also supported frequently and consistently high-density residential redevelopment of commercial spaces in Roswell. This is blatantly taking away space that we can make beautiful and accessible and walkable to our residents, and we're putting in high-density units for multifamily purposes. Right before he voted that down, he did skip out on the East Roswell Target project, so he was not on record to vote on that one. But in a city council meeting prior to that, he stated that he thought that this was quite an opportunity for the developer. I'm sure it was. We had over 2,000 residents and quite a few local experts stating why there were health, safety, and welfare problems. There were reasons to deny the variances the developer requested. This is a problem. He actually said afterwards, me personally, I can't find any health, safety, or welfare reason why we cannot approve this. I'm not really sure who he's representing, because the neighbors I've spoken to over here that are near the East Roswell Target project do not feel like they're being served with what's being developed, and that's due to break ground pretty soon. We all live in beautiful neighborhoods across Roswell. we need to make sure that our commercial development reflects the residents and the homeowners' property. It needs to be beautiful. It needs to be walkable. It needs to reflect also how our landscapes look. So this isn't just about putting in a shopping center. This is about putting in a place, a destination to eat, to live, to visit with our neighbors, and make sure that it's landscaped well, that it reads well from the street, and that our families are happy to go there and proud to invite their out-of-town guests to come with them. Regarding the transparency, I would like to point out that early on in my opponent's term in 2017, one of his first votes was to vote down the transcription of our minutes from our city council meetings. I don't know how many of you have 2 or 3 hours to sit and watch the video of such, but that to me is a blatant control mechanism over the communication that our city council should be disseminating to our families and our residents. In 2019, that was rescinded and they started transcribing again, but I just want to put an emphasis on more communication as far as it being available and transparent for our families and residents rather than less. This past year, across the United States, our cities have seen a reduction in our police force for a number of reasons, mostly through COVID. We are not immune to that here in Roswell. We lost a lot of our good cops. The primary reason was their salaries for our tenured and experienced officers did not reflect such, and they were able to go and find jobs that paid better in other areas. I want to see our police force, the budget bolstered. I'd like to see them paid accordingly, looked after, and make sure that they're equipped to do what they need to do living here in Roswell to take care of us. My opponent denied a pay increase to accommodate this discrepancy. So we're going in the wrong direction based on how he's voting. He did vote around the same time to give large bonuses to all city employees, and then an unprecedented 9% raise across the board. So whether you were a first-year employee or a 12-year employee, you all got a 9% raise across the board. So we weren't looking at the details the way we should, the way a budget should be run, and I'd like to see that corrected as well. As far as our campaign budgets go, I don't know if you're aware, but before 2017, most city council members who are running a campaign were able to win a seat between $5,000 to $15,000 in a campaign budget. My opponent spent over $70,000 in 2017. That's a little off the chain for me for an $18,000 salary job. So my concern there is not the overwhelming support, but the strings that might be attached to some of that support and favors that might be asked to be filled later. So I feel like that leaves a lot of questions for folks as far as the transparency and what's going on. So I'd like to see that leveled out. I'd like to see that looked into, not necessarily one individual's campaign, but across the board, how that money is being taken in and what expectations are being made. I'm running a grassroots campaign. I'm old school about a lot of things, and I try to be techie, but I'm probably the most old school person around. I'm not out here to spend a bunch of money. I'm out here to do what's right for our city, for the city of Roswell. We've got so many beautiful assets here, our historic homes. We've got gorgeous tree-laden streets. I'd really like to see our trees preserved and not trade them for traffic with high-density build-outs. I want to make sure that our community is fluid across 400, that we're all working together, and I'm here to do that for you. A couple of last things I'd like to leave with you, inspirational items for Roswell that have meant a lot to me. When we first moved here, Wes and I started going to Roswell Remembers, which is the Memorial Day celebration at City Hall. It's fantastic. It's the largest one in the state of Georgia, boasting 6,000 to 7,000 patrons that come and enjoy themselves and remember our veterans and how we got here, celebrate what they fought for and what we get to enjoy because of that. I feel like the last 2 years, with that being canceled, we've lost some of that memory making. We aren't able to recognize our veterans and how we got here. I'm going to make sure that comes back. I don't ever want to think that we don't have that again. So that's a big deal to me. And then, of course, on the heels of yesterday, September 11th, I was disappointed to find out that we didn't have an actual ceremony for September 11th yesterday. There is a memorial, which is wonderful. I was at Roswell High Friday helping them install flags with the students. I've done that since 2013, and it's been a true honor for me to be able to recognize those that we lost. That's a big deal as well. So, in closing, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's come out today. Thank you for your support. If you've helped stuff or put out signs or are getting ready to do some of that, hint, hint, thank you in advance. And I'll be happy to answer any questions while we're meandering around. Please get some refreshments. But anyway, I hope you will get out and vote, talk me up. Lee Hills is your girl. I'm going to be your next post 6 city council person. I answer phone and email, so I will not run away. I'm running to City of Roswell City Council. Thank you.
I see that, Joyce. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Well,
Thanks for supporting me. We appreciate you coming.
So,